music of the Salvation Army Quartet means, of course, that it's time for another special Christmas edition of I've Got a Secret.
I've Got a Secret, brought to you tonight. From New York, here is I've Got a Secret, starring Steve Allen.
Thanks very much. Howdy, welcome to the Christmas edition of I've Got a Secret. And now let's meet the Christmas edition of our panel. First, there's Betsy Palmer, then Bill Cullen, then Bess Meyerson, and, of course, Henry Morgan.
Of course!
Panel, if you're ready to play the game, watch out, because we're very sneaky tonight. May we have our first contestants, please? Make yourselves comfortable, gentlemen. They're going to keep coming in all night, so we'll get right started here with our conversation. Would the two gentlemen who are seated next to me here, would you give me your names and tell us where you're from?
Spurgeon Sigley, Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Richmond Myers, Bethlehem, Pennsylvania.
Now, Dr. Myers and Mr. Sigley are acting as spokesmen for all of these gentlemen who are members of an organization which is, to say the least, unusual. The organization is the Central Moravian Church Choir of Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. It was formed quite a long time ago, way back in 1754, when Pennsylvania, as you know, was just a small colony. And it's continued in constant service for over 200 years, making it the oldest continuing musical organization in the United States. Dr. Myers, how long have you personally been with the choir?
50 years.
I see. Mr. Sigley, how about you?
60 years.
Well, I said it was an unusual organization, but there's one other distinction about this choir that makes it truly unique. So, gentlemen, if you will whisper the details of that point to me, we'll show it at the same time to our audience at home. That is unique, indeed. But tell me more, if you would. Aha. Well, panel, the clue concerns something about these men. I guess that isn't much of a clue, but it's the best we could do on short notice. And we'll start the game with Bill Cullen.
Gentlemen, do you all have one thing in common, among possibly others?
Yes.
Loud voices.
That was pretty. Does it have to do with your ancestors?
No.
There's no disagreement at all there. They're very good, Steve. May I meet each one individually?
After the show,
Oh,
certainly.
all right.
You can address them individually.
Does it have to do with your living in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania?
No. No.
Does it have anything to do with a special Christmas celebration that occurs in Bethlehem annually? There is something special that goes on there.
Well, not in any way that would be helpful to you, no.
Does it have...
$20 down, Bess?
Gentlemen, does it have anything to do with what you do when you don't sing?
No.
Does it have anything...
Well, I'm outnumbered. I'm outnumbered.
Well, let's say this. It has... Well, I'll repeat it again. Does it have something to do with something other than singing?
Yes.
Does it have to do with women?
No.
Well, when they don't sing, they're with women. Does it have to do with your professions, your work?
No.
Does it have...
$40 down. Henry?
Yeah. Boy, have I got a big brain. Brain works, mouth nothing. It has to do with what you do when you're not singing, but it has nothing to do with your profession. Does it have to do with where you... No. Does it have to do with, in any way, with how you earn your livings?
No.
Does it have to do with where you live?
No.
Does it have to do with your ages?
No.
It definitely has to do with them in their capacity as a choir. I'll give you that hint.
Okay. Do you do...
There's a buzzer, $60 down. Betsy?
Does it have to do with your names?
No.
How about what you sing?
No.
But it has to do with the choir?
Yes.
Are musical instruments involved in this?
Yes.
Oh, now go where?
For heaven's sake. Go. Do you all play a musical instrument along with singing?
No.
Are you... Oh, you're an organ.
No, you're an organ, a mouth organ. No, panel, at this time, I'm going to ask the gentleman behind me to step backstage here. They can start peeling out in just a moment or two and get ready to perform a selection of Christmas music, the sound of which I think you'll find most unusual because this, Betsy and all of you, is a church choir that does not sing a note. It's the world's only all-trombone choir. Dr. Myers, we might as well continue our chat here during the Exodus. I understand that by old world Moravian tradition, it's not too unusual to have instruments in the church choir, but how did this particular group evolve to the point where it was only trombones?
Simply because on trombones, we feel that we can best render the old Moravian choral music.
I see. I thought maybe it was because originally there were a lot of singers there and they kept getting hit in the back of the head by the trombone players. Little by little,
It happened.
I suppose that did happen too. Are the duties of this group similar to those of a regular singing choir?
Not exactly. The duties of this group take us to the tower of the church where we announce church festivals, and we also open church services, but we do not play during them.
I see. Moravia originally, is that a section of Germany? I should know.
Part of Bohemia.
Part of Bohemia,
Yes.
I see. And because of this custom that you've just explained, back in around Christmas of 1755, was it?
Thereabout,
I heard the story anyway. The choir warded off an Indian attack. How did that happen?
Well, that was really very simple. It's a legend, frankly. But because the choir announces church festivals, or used to, at dawn, and Indians attacked at dawn, there was a natural connection here. We believe that the Indians were laying in wait to attack Bethlehem. They heard the music of the trombones on that Christmas morning, and they didn't know what it was. They finally concluded that it was the voice of the Great Spirit telling them to leave the little settlement in peace, and so they did.
An interesting story. Well, the group is ready to play now, I've been assured, so we're going to open the curtains and introduce them to you. I guess you'll be wanting to play too, so you can get your trombone. And their conductor this evening is Mr. Charles Gross. They're going to play first a traditional Moravian hymn and then Adeste Fidelis. Here they are. Very enjoyable. Our program continues briefly after this message. Now may we have our next contestant, please. Nice to have you with us. Would you tell everyone your name and where you're from?
I'm Carol Reinhardt from New York City.
All right, panel and ladies and gentlemen, I'll give you a bit of background information on Carol Reinhardt. She's currently working toward her master's degree on a full scholarship. In the past 3 years, she's earned 3 degrees from 3 different universities, all on scholarships. And in addition to this, she has won a Fulbright scholarship. She's traveled all over America and also throughout Europe, all because of her brilliance in the field which we think is rather unusual. So, Carol, if you will whisper to me the general idea of what I'm talking about here, we'll tell the audience how you earned all these scholarships. Uh-huh. Panel, the clue to Carol's secret concerns something she does, and we'll start the game this time with Henry Morgan.
Carol, these scholarships, did they take the average length of time to earn that a scholarship usually does?
Yes.
And you must be older than you look, huh?
Yes.
Congratulations. Does what you do require, in addition to your brilliance, a great deal of study?
Yes.
Is it a highly specialized field?
Yes.
One that ordinarily we wouldn't expect a girl to be in?
Yes.
Girls have been known to be in this field, but it is unusual. $20 down, Betsy.
Is it in the field of science?
No.
Is it in the field of the arts?
Yes.
Is it in theater?
No.
Music?
Yes.
Does it have to do with your playing music?
Yes.
Do you play an instrument? Oh, great.
Somebody plays a buzzer there. $40 down. Bill Cullen?
Do you play a particular instrument, Carol?
Yes, I do.
Is it an instrument that we usually think of as mostly being played by men?
Yes.
What would that be?
Tuba.
Tuba?
No.
Drums? That's a man's instrument.
No.
Bass, violin?
No.
What are they laughing at me for?
It's Bess's turn, but Henry had his hand up. Yes, Henry.
Wait, did you go? I was thinking, it's Christmas. Are you a bell ringer?
If she is, it has nothing to do with the program tonight, Henry.
Oh, fine.
But be sure your bell is in good shape.
Gotta put my hand back in my mouth.
I thought Henry wanted to invite Carol to ring his bell.
That's another
Carol, is this an orchestral instrument that you play?
Yes, it is.
Is it a string?
No.
Brass?
Yes.
Trumpet?
Yes.
Yes. That's right. That's how Carol won all those scholarships I was talking about, by her skill as a trumpet player. Now, this lovely young lady is one of the few women in the world who gives concerts and who appears with symphony orchestras as a trumpet soloist. Carol, when did you start studying the trumpet?
My mother started me when I was 2.5 years old.
2.5?
Yes.
You must have been about as tall as a trumpet at that time.
About.
Seriously, how did you play it? Lie down next to it and blow into it sideways? How do you play trumpet at 2.5? You couldn't lift it. How did you do that?
Well, I had a slide cornet, which is a little lighter than a trumpet with valves, so
I see.
I could handle it.
Now, they tell me that at the age of 13, you achieved one of your many honors. What was that one?
Well, I was commissioned as the youngest bandmaster in the Salvation Army.
I see. Carol is an active member of the Salvation Army and has worked with the organization for a full 18 years now. I can go on talking about her for hours because she's done so much, but I suppose the most impressive thing about her is the way she plays the trumpet. So, Carol, we have a trumpet for you right here, as you could see, and the panel could not. So just help yourself to our stage now. Accompanied by Norman Paris and his orchestra, here for a real musical treat is Carol Reinhardt. You know, some people, if they hadn't heard Carol play, might think it's not a very glamorous thing for a young lady to do, but it certainly hasn't hurt her in that department because in 1960, another honor still, she was voted the National College Queen. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. May we have our next contestant, please? Can you tell us your name, where you're from?
My name is John Trotter, and I'm from Alexandria, Virginia.
Young Mr. Trotter, panel, and ladies and gentlemen, is a college student, and like Carol Reinhardt, he's quite a young fella. But that's, well, she wasn't a young fella, but she was a college student. Anyway, in addition to his regular studies, he's been a member of the wrestling team and the football team. Now, John, you quit the football team, I understand, to play on the rugby team. That's sort of an English version of football. Which would you say is the rougher of the two games?
Well, I think rugby is from the point of view of endurance.
Well, is it the rugby season right now?
No, luckily it's not. I'm engaged in another activity.
Well, if you'll whisper to me about that activity, we'll show the audience at home what that is. Panel, the clue to John Trotter's secret concerns the college project that he's currently involved in, and we'll start the game with Betsy Palmer.
Does this project have to do with Christmas?
Yes,
Are
indirectly.
you cheery when you do it?
Excuse me?
Cheery. Are you cheery when you do it?
It's no like
You're not happy at all when you do it.
Incidentally, panel, that was a qualified yes on the
That
connection
was a
with Christmas.
qualified yes?
Yes, it is.
Connected with Christmas?
It's indirect.
You, by any chance, this is just a wild guess. You're not Santa Claus, are you?
No.
At any time,
$20 down. Bill?
Well, Steve stressed the point that you had wrestled and played rugby and football. Can I then assume, Mr. Trotter, that the project you're involved in now has nothing to do with those violent sports, but is a project that a lady would be more apt to get involved with?
Yes.
Very shrewd, Bill.
Oh, I don't know. I know the thinking of the producers, Steve. Is it, well, let's go. Is it an artistic thing you're doing?
Yes.
Sewing?
Yes.
You're sewing?
Oh, no. Excuse
Sewing,
me.
no.
I thought you said solely.
Sewing.
No.
It's artistic.
Yes, $40 down.
Do you work with your hands?
No.
It's what ladies would do ordinarily.
You don't work...
Yes.
Do you do this other times as well as Christmas?
No.
Don't fool yourself by concentrating on the Christmas aspect of it. Yes, Henry. $60 down. Henry.
This is something that ladies do without using their hands?
Yes, men could do these things, too, in a sense.
Obviously, he's doing it.
Yes.
Well, look, does it have anything to do with cooking,
No.
raising children?
No.
This is a tough one. When I tell you John Trotter's secret, panel, everybody keep in mind that he's a pretty tough rugby player before you make any smart remarks. John is a student at Princeton University, and he's been keeping very busy recently working as a chorus girl in Princeton's famous Triangle Club musical. John, how long has the Triangle Club been doing these musical shows?
77 years.
And in all that time, no female has ever participated since Princeton, as you know, is a men's college.
Right.
I understand the tours, you're on a 12-city tour right now. Where do you appear next?
We'll be at Milwaukee, Kansas City. Oh, and Chicago's the first night, then Milwaukee and Kansas City.
Gotcha. Well, John was kind enough to bring some of the members of the cast of the Triangle Show with him this evening to give us a little sample, and the audience is all enthused already, and so are we. So, John, help yourself to our stage there and get into your costume. That takes a bit of doing, as you'll see. We'll have the curtains open now in just a moment, and you'll have a look at something really wild. At the big production number from this year's Triangle Club production called High Sobriety. Norman Paris, may we have a downbeat?
Sleigh bells ringing and children singing of joy and love and cheer. Just because it's Christmas, yes, it's the Christmas time of year. Cakes of candy and plums with brandy, and no one shed a tear. Everyone loves Christmas, and it's the Christmas time of year. Families waiting to trim the the tree, stockings all hung in a row. Homes aglitter with shining lights, filled with holly and mistletoe. The time's before us, so join the chorus, the season's finally here. Once again it's Christmas, yes it's the Christmas time of year.
A little bit of it. We'll be back in just a minute, but let's pause for this message now.
Right. What's today?
Well, panel and ladies and gentlemen and all the ships at sea, we hope you all have a very happy Christmas indeed. And we hope that our little program this evening has helped to put you a little more on the right spirit. We're going to have a wonderful man as our guest. That is next week, is it? Yes. Yeah. Next week's show, that's the great Louis Satchmo Armstrong. So I'll be here. Will you?
We'll
That's the least we can all do, I think. And right now, Henry's going to think it over. We'll all
Can we
go back.
say Merry Christmas to everyone?
Sure.
Here.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Now we go out with more music by the Salvation Army Orchestra.
Thank you.
Got a Secret has been brought to you tonight by
Topping mix with all the flavor richness of whipped cream from General Foods.
Miss Meyerson's Gown by Cameo.
Enjoy a sparkling blend of music and dance performed by some of the world's most acclaimed dancers. Watch The Nutcracker, a now 1-hour Christmas special in color tomorrow evening at 7:30, 6:30 Central Time.
This program was pre-recorded. This is John Cannon speaking.